2. I'm sitting in my terrace right now because we are having some pretty awful weather. I don't want to say typical Lithuanian weather, but it is typical. It's more typical for October than November. I think it's November 20th today. I'm not even sure, but as you can see behind me, it's windy, blustery, raining, sleeting. We keep getting these storms and squalls coming in off the Baltic Sea. That's one of the problems of living near the Baltic Sea, is sometimes of the year we get these squalls or mini hurricanes that come in off of the sea. I can deal with the clouds, I can deal with the rain, I can even deal with the wind. We had plenty of that back in Wisconsin where we lived, but not so much all at the same time and not for days on end. I think this is day number 5 of pretty much awful weather, but it doesn't get me down. I don't mind clouds, like I said. In fact, I kind of prefer clouds to sun, but it makes it hard for me to do anything outside. I still find things to do inside. There's always things to do in the greenhouse or the garage. But I had planned on filming this out in the forest or somewhere with a little more view, but we'll have to settle for the terrace. You can see I'm wearing a jacket. It's a little warmer here in the terrace than outside, but not much. But I'll start off with thank you to everybody who watched my first video. I think last I checked I was at 60 views, which is amazing. As I mentioned in my first video, I'm not doing this for views or to become a YouTube star. I really don't expect a lot of views, but at the same time I do appreciate the number of people who actually watched it. I got a suspicion that a lot of those people were friends and family just trying to encourage me, and I guess I'll take it. But I promise the future videos should get a little better, maybe a little more exciting. Can't really promise about the exciting part. I'm a pretty dull guy, and this is a pretty dull channel, but you might get a few laughs out of it or see something interesting. As I mentioned in my first video, I am a complete idiot when it comes to technology. I'm still figuring out this camera stuff, and actually the camera is easy to use. I have a GoPro 12, pretty easy to use. It's everything else to edit the videos and throw them all together. I had made a mistake about uploading my first video in 1080 instead of the 4K, and things did not look good because the camera's capturing things in 4K. So I learned a little bit there. I'm still going to tinker with it. I may try to film in 1080 and upload in 1080. We'll see how it goes. We'll lose some quality, but anyhow, again, thank you for watching that first video. If you haven't watched the first video, you might want to. It'll kind of catch you up on why I started my channel and how I ended up in Lithuania, etc. But I think one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the actual move from the US to Lithuania. It was a bit of a nightmare. We got through it, but I definitely learned a lot. Not that I ever will go through it again, but we did rent a shipping container, and that's sort of where the problem started. I will also mention that we hadn't sold our place in the US at that point in time when we sent the shipping container here. So it's not like we sent the whole house of things, you know, not much furniture. In fact, I think we only sent our big dining room table and chairs. It was mainly clothes, and then also a lot of tools and machinery. I sent, you know, an ATV, I sent a snowblower, I sent a cultivator, a lot of tools, but I'll go back to the whole container bit because that was probably the biggest problem. So I originally wanted to rent an entire container. I think it's 40 feet. I'm not sure what that is in meters. I'll put that down below in the subtext. But I wanted to rent the entire container, even though we knew we didn't need the entire full shipping container. But the shipping company and my wife and some friends kept pushing me and pushing me. Oh, you'll save money if you only rent half the container and share it with somebody else. There's still a source of contention between myself and my wife, what really transpired there. But either way, I got talked into sharing a container with somebody, and one thing led to another, and apparently they had a car in that container, the other half, and my guess is that the paperwork on that car was a bit dodgy, who knows what really happened, but ended up, the container got flagged in U.S. Customs, and it got held up there for I think 6 weeks or something, which caused so many headaches. At that time, I wasn't living here full time yet. I had already booked tickets to arrive here when we thought the container was going to arrive here, so we had to switch plane tickets, everything else to kind of align when we got here to when the shipping container got here. So after the whole drama of it getting held up in U.S. Customs for, I think it was 6 weeks, maybe at least more than a month, but anyhow, it did finally make it here to Lithuania. Well, then the drama started here in Customs, or the port here in Klaipėda. There was a whole bunch of questions and a lot of trouble with getting some of our things that we had sent in that container through. I think there was a lot of dodginess going on there. Our paperwork was in perfect order. Everything, we had receipts, we had clear titles, we had everything was in perfect order. And still there was a lot of back and forth. And basically, I think in the old days, it would have been just purely called what it is, a bribe. Well, now they call it a fee, but we had to pay an extra fee. I don't remember what it was, 500-600 euros in cash, of course. So I'm quite certain that that fee went directly into somebody's pocket and never got reported to the government, but that's a different conversation. So we went through all that, finally got all our stuff. They brought the container out here to where we live. We had to scramble to unload everything, because the truck delivering the container wasn't just going to sit around, and they weren't going to leave the container. So luckily some friends helped out to unload everything, and that went okay. So eventually we got everything. In regards to things that were damaged, yeah, there was a few nicks and scrapes. I think mainly because they had tried to jam so much of our stuff into half of a container. I won't get into that again, but as far as, again, what we sent, lessons learned, definitely there was a lot of things that I sent. I can't blame any of it on my wife. A lot of things I sent that, now looking back, I probably wouldn't have sent. I probably would have just bought things here. Even the ATV, which, the other thing, I know I'm jumping back and forth, another thing worth mentioning is when you send things here in a container, they have to be used. It can't be anything new or anything still in the box. I think the reason for that is, at that time there were so many things in the US that really were a lot cheaper and better quality than here in Lithuania. That's all changed now. You can get pretty decent things and the prices have kind of evened out. But at that time, a lot of things were much cheaper in the States, and Lithuania, or the European Union, didn't want people trying to profit from that, sending new things from the US and selling them as new here. So a lot of the things we sent, whether it be the ATV or my cultivator or snowblower, we had to make them look used. So, smear some mud on them, even tools that were brand new, take them out of the box and get some dirt on them so they look used. So it was a bit silly, but we went through that whole thing. But again, some of the things I sent, in hindsight, I sent this nice utility trailer. I'll stick to American measurements for now, but I'll put the metric measurements in the subtext. But I sent a trailer, I think it was 4x8, really nice trailer with a drop-down ramp, with the intention of using it around here. Well, in the end, we probably wouldn't have used it that much, but even if we wanted to use it, you can't register it here in Lithuania just due to the different road laws and specifications. So that was definitely a mistake. Other things, I think, even the ATV, and I'll do another video about the ATV, that's a longer story, but in short, again, that ATV that I had sent, which was basically brand new, I put a few kilometers on it over there in the States, but again, cannot register it here. They have different rules, different requirements, so, I could only ride it, on private property or ride it illegally, which, is really what I did for a couple of years. Again, that's a different story, but other things, the cultivator, the snowblower, I'm glad I sent them. I think some of that stuff is a little better quality in America than in Lithuania, but again, things are catching up. You can buy good quality things here. It's just really expensive. On the other end of the spectrum, you'll get, you know, bad quality. But you know, as far as tools, you know, again, some of it I think I shouldn't have sent. I should have just bought here, because you also have to remember it's different electricity here in Lithuania. Everything is 220 versus pretty much everything in the States being 110. So a lot of my tools and chargers, you know, cordless drills, etc., are geared for 110. So of course I had to send a converter here, which converts, I think, not only volts but watts. But anyhow, you know, again, I'm not saying I really regretted it, because the tools I still have, they're really good quality, no problems. But again, I have to convert my charger through a converter to use the 220 electricity here. So again, I guess in summary, I won't dwell on it, but the actual move, the container that we sent, really was a nightmare. I would recommend, if anybody's going to move from the States to the European Union, you know, do some asking around. Really ask yourself, is this something that I need to send, versus just buy when you get there. In fact, I've talked to some Lithuanians who have sent things like cars from the United States, or, you know, other things in a shipping container. A lot of them choose to send it to the port in Kiel, Germany, instead of to Klaipėda, just because of some of the dodginess that you might run into here. Again, I won't get into that, but you know, it's almost better to send it through there. As long as your paperwork and documentation is in order, you pretty much get what you need. You still need to get it to Lithuania. In the case of a car, you can just drive it to Lithuania. But I wouldn't want to do it again. But we got through it, and you know, everything that we sent did arrive with a little bit of damage and a little bit of drama. But I guess that's that about that. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about the actual move or getting settled in here in other videos. But once again, thanks to everybody for watching that first video. Again, don't feel obligated to watch it. I know this channel is not everybody's cup of tea. It's in fact pretty boring for most people, but it is nice to see those views. I'm tempted to say, oh, click on the like or add your comments. Certainly if you have questions or comments, you know, add them to the video. If you have negative comments or want to click the dislike, go ahead, but you know, try not to get me too down on my first attempt at this. But I'll talk to you all again soon, and I think I've got a couple. Oh, I forgot to mention, I put a couple of pictures in the first part of this video, some old pictures of me, one when I was a small boy and a couple when I was, I think, around in my early 20s, just to show you that I was once a young man and not this grumpy old man that you see in front of you today. But more to come. Thanks, everyone. So now I want to talk about one of my other chores that I do typically once a year, and that's cleaning the moss off of the pavers. This is sort of a new concept for me. In America, not many people have these pavers in their driveways. We mainly have concrete or asphalt, blacktop, whatever you want to call it, but very few people have this paver thing. So again, it's kind of new to me, and I don't know if I can zoom, but you can see the moss that builds up in all the cracks. So basically, I try to get this to look like this. This is a section that I've already cleaned. It is a lot of work. It's a pain. I've heard a lot of different theories on the best way to do it. Believe you me, I've tried them all. Everybody I talk to seems to have a better way to do it, but you know, I think what a lot of people around here do is the power washer or high pressure water that essentially just blows all the moss out. But unfortunately, it also blows all of the sand out in between the bricks. So when you're done, you actually have to re-sand. You have to pour sand in and work it in through the cracks. I think worse yet, if you don't have the pressure just right on the power washer, it not only blows the sand from between the bricks, but it'll blow the sand from underneath the bricks, and then you get the bricks starting to not be even. They start to sink, they start to settle. Plus that whole power washing thing is just an absolute mess. I just was not a fan. I tried it. There's other things to be tried, and this is a stick you can buy that has an attachment on it. You can get several types of attachments. You can get this one with the little hook on the end. You can get the other side of it as a sort of a hook, but it's wider, and that sort of works. This one doesn't go very deep. It still leaves some moss. This one, you can get it to go deep, but it's just so hard on the shoulders and on the arms because it constantly gets caught in the cracks if you hit a grain of sand or something. It works okay. Now this one plugs into this little stick, and it works quite well. You can see it's basically a steel brush, and it does clean it out pretty good, but again, it constantly gets caught in these cracks, and it's just really hard on my shoulder, hard on my arms. Even though there's a pole, you're still kind of bent over. It works, but and there's, of course, there's chemicals and things you can just put on the bricks like this. Some people say some diluted bleach or diluted vinegar, and yeah, it'll kill the moss, but it just kills the moss. It goes from green to brown. You still need to remove the moss after it's dead. Plus, I don't really want to be putting chemicals in my driveway because it spills over into the yard and the flower bed and might hurt the dog. I think some of them even stain the bricks a little bit. So really what I ended up doing, and I've tried this several years, is I end up just getting on my hands and knees, grabbing a knife, good old-fashioned steak knife, and basically I just clean the cracks. It's a bit tedious. You're on your hands and knees. It takes a long time, but it works. I hate to even try to estimate how many hours it takes me to do the whole driveway, but last year, it took me 6 weeks to do all of my bricks, all the way around the house. It goes all the way around to the sides. It goes on the bricks in front of the garage. So I've found that the best method is to just use a knife, get on your hands and knees, and just start scraping. And that's how this ends up looking like this. I end up going through quite a few of these knives each year because they wear down. That's how this glove ends up looking like this, because of course the knives and the bricks kind of wear through the gloves. But I know everybody thinks I'm crazy. I know the neighbors think I'm crazy by out here on my hands and knees for weeks and weeks and weeks cleaning each crack, but and maybe I am crazy, but if somebody can tell me a better way to do this, I am open to suggestions. So that's another segment of my boring life, and I don't mind doing it though. It's kind of therapeutic. You get out here, you just scrape bricks and don't think about anything else. So enough about that. So one of the other chores I've been working on lately is the main road that leads to our driveway to our house is starting to get overgrown with some willow bushes and trees, and they start to creep out into the road and scratch the side of the cars. But worse yet, some of them are so tall and hang out over the road so far, it actually bashes into some of the delivery vans and taller vehicles that try to come down the road. So I first got in there with some hand tools and just kind of cleared out some of the brush right next to the road, and then started with the chainsaw to start hack away at the bigger stuff. So in the end, I think it'll hold things together until next year when I got to do it all over again, because those willows grow pretty fast. But at the very least, hopefully the delivery van drivers that keep bashing into the trees will appreciate it. So we'll see you guys next time.